Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. This week's Evolution Report is brought to you by the theme of patience. Patience, something that most of us are not very good at. We are trained by the world, by the school system, by our parents. We are trained, especially in the Western world, that the force of our sheer will, our physical act of creation, is the way in which we go about making things happen in the world. And certainly, I'm not going to say that when you're manifested in a body, that the physicality of the human experience doesn't, to a certain degree, contribute to some of what you create in the world. You got to do the work of the world. But the universe and the way in which we create, when we harness the infinite power of the creative source, the quantum field, God, whatever you want to call it, when we know how to tap into that, it's not necessarily up here, by the way, it's around us. You're swimming in it right now. When we can tap into that, what we see is that there's a divine order to the creative process on the planet, and that a lot of how we create and a lot of the process that we go through when we create is dependent upon right timing. That right timing brings us to right action in alignment with all the manifestations necessary for us to experience synchronicity, magic, alchemy, sometimes those unexpected manifestations that turn out way better than we thought, and maybe even way better than what we were really working hard towards. You can't harness magic if you don't know how to be with the unfolding of divine timing. And if you are pushing against timing, not only are you using a tremendous amount of energy and potentially burning yourself out, you're also missing the magic. And you're limiting the capacity of how much you can create, because as humans, we're kind of finite. You know, it's a finite journey. It has a pretty clear beginning and end, and even within the context of the bookends of beginning and end, we have access to finite amounts of energy if we're not harnessing the true nature of our creative power, which is the power of noticing and the power of waiting while we notice. It is our observation, what we notice, what we pay attention to, the energies that we consciously cultivate that actually change the nature of how matter behaves. Quantum scientists know this, right? When you observe quantum particles, it changes the nature of how they behave. It is our conscious, and may I say, heart-based noticing, gratitude, and waiting with faith that actually creates much more powerfully than you can create by just using your sheer will. But sometimes when we push against timing, we miss the opportunities. We miss the magic that's available to us. We miss the alchemy of what we've been creating because we lose our capacity to wait with grace. And we get frustrated, or we get angry, or we get bitter, or we get disappointed because it's not happening fast enough in the way we thought that it should. This week's energy teaches us that when we stay aligned with right waiting, faith, grace, positive expectations, and gratitude, all those fluffy woo-woo things we sometimes hate because they're hard, even though they're easy. When we wait, when we stay aligned with the unfolding of the cosmic plan, we move into a powerful state of creativity, of innovation. We stay on the leading edge of the next new possibility for our human journey, our human adventure. When we don't wait, when we decide to push against divine timing, what we end up creating usually is chaos. And it's chaos that can destroy relationships, chaos that can cause doors to close and that never open again. It's a chaos that can be, albeit a transformational and maybe even an educational experience, but not necessarily an opportunity for us to practice harnessing and honing and tuning into the infinite power that's available to us, even in our human form. So this week we have to be really mindful of the mantra that everything is unfolding as it should be. Everything is unfolding in right timing. Now that doesn't mean you ignore the outer reality. You're taking your cues from the world outside of you. And if the inspiration hits and the timing and the energy is right for you, then by God, go ahead and take action. But be mindful of how you are experiencing the waiting process. Be mindful of those places where your enthusiasm carries you too far over into the other side of the equation and you leap into something without maybe doing your homework. Be mindful of those places where the boredom of the waiting process causes us to leap when the timing isn't right, and then we create chaos. We create hurting. Waiting, good waiting, conscious waiting, deliberate waiting is a skill set that will empower you to create beyond what you can create with your physical work. We have this week not only the theme of waiting and potential chaos, if you're not careful, we also have the theme of control playing out in the more personal planets this week. We want to control timing, and be clear that this week you might feel inspired to try to control the timing. Work on instead controlling your experience of waiting. The more you wait in a place of consciously calibrated joy and abundance, the more you nurture yourself and take care of yourself in the process of waiting, the more you walk in beauty while you wait, the more you actually expedite the creative process, and the more you create in alignment with that beauty. So take some breaths this week. If you need to, spend some time on your meditation pillow, being fully present to where you are right now. Acknowledge that even if it doesn't look like how you think it should be looking right now, wait and see how it unfolds. And while you're waiting, don't think of it as twiddling your thumbs and doing nothing, because you're not. You are actively creating while you're waiting. So use that waiting consciously. Use that waiting to continue to calibrate deliberately what it is that you are wanting to manifest in your world. Quantum physicists understand that it's observation of quantum particles that changes the nature of how they behave. Gratitude is simply noticing with heart. It's observing with heart. Stay in that space of heart-based observation this week so that you can continue to influence the behavior of the quantum particles in your world, so that you can begin to collapse something beautiful, something worthy of the truth of who you are. Now, that being said, we got a couple more things to talk about. That's what's going on in the sun and the earth and the personal planets up at the top of the chart. We got to go down to the bigger planets, because these slower moving outer planets like Jupiter and Pluto are influencing not just our own personal environment, but the collective environment that we're swimming in. Jupiter's in a retrograde cycle that happens about every 13 months, and it goes on for about 4 months. Whenever Jupiter goes retrograde, we're being given an invitation by the planets to take a step back, to go into an introspective place, a spiritual introspection or a spiritual recalibration. Now, next week the sun moves to the 25, so we're looking forward to next week. We're in the middle of a creative cycle, and in the middle of that creative cycle, we are always given the opportunity to recalibrate our creation with love. I'm going to say this cycle is such a powerful cycle that Jupiter is working with us as we go through this long cycle of introspection. By the way, introspection is a creative energy. It's about calibrating your heart to be aligned with the nature of Source, so that you are not powerless while you're waiting, but you are expanding your power while you continue to calibrate your connection with Source. So take some time, as I said earlier, take some time consistently now for the next couple of months to get into the habit of staying connected to Source. Do whatever you need to do to maintain that connection, whether it's walking, going outside, meditating, plugging into your heart in whatever way you need to plug into your heart. But do that, because this calibration that you're in sets the tone for the next year, okay? So you want to create with infinite power, you want to create beyond your human capacity, get on your meditation pillow and connect with your heart, okay? Second thing is, Pluto now moves into the 61st hexagram. Isn't it interesting that all of the planets are doing the same theme in different gates with different energies? The 61 is all about reaching up to know the unknowable. It's the bridge between below and above in that whole, you've heard that story, right? As above, so below, right? Or so below as above, because I think it goes both ways. It's the 61 that's the bridge between the two. So we are really tending to this conscious connection, this place where we reach beyond our human experience to touch the face of God, to know the unknowable, and in that experience of knowingness, we bring back into our human life a deeper place of connection with our unique place, our unique spot, our unique seat in the cosmic order of things. And when you understand your place in the cosmic plan, then it becomes a lot easier for you to wait and to take your cues, not just from your brain, but to take your cues instead from the outer world. Let the universe unfold in front of you in the way that it needs to, in right timing. Wait patiently while things are unfolding. And then when you get those cues and clues, when the universe shows you the sign, when the timing is right, go take those actions. Go engage in the true energy of service. For you, that true energy of service is you being the full manifestation of the truth of who you are, because when you are who you are and you do what you came here to do, not only do you serve yourself because it feels darn good and everything gets easier, you also serve the cosmos. And you increase the capacity for the rest of the world to be able to do the same. So wait with patience, walk in beauty, have a great week, do some serious deep breathing, people. Don't let the chaos get you down. Know that it's all unfolding in divine order, and have a fabulous, fabulous week. It only gets better from here.